got it recorded.
All right, guys. So our apologies that you couldn't get Blender installed properly. However, after the help session and watching this recording again, you guys should be able to catch up. So, Brent, really quickly, can we review what we've looked at so far? And can we also see if we can help out Salvador to zoom in and out?
Definitely. So as a recap, I'm going to open Blender. And when I open Blender, the first thing I will see is the splash screen. To get rid of this, I can hit the escape key in the top left of my keyboard, or I can just click anywhere that is not it. What I mean by this is if I click on anything outside of this, like right here, it will go away.
Right, let me stop you right there for a sec. John, could you mute your microphone? We're getting a bit of feedback.
All right, thank you, Julian.
That's okay. So guys, just bear with us for a second while we do a quick review. Even if you get all this stuff, it's useful just to watch it again. And we'll send you this recording so that if you guys ever forget how to do this stuff in Blender, then you'll always have this to reference. All right, Brent, I'm sorry about that.
No worries. Okay, so with that, as soon as I look at my 3D view, my program, it's called the program to start, I have some menus over here, menus up top. This space where there's a giant grid, there's a cube, this triangle thing, and this circle, on the cube. This is called the 3D space. And in Blender, the 3D view is the technical term. 3D viewport, 3D view. So if you hear us say in the viewport or the 3D space, that refers to this area. Also, the menus that we looked at so far are down here. This section will be used to help us move objects. By default, when we open the program, it's already highlighted this one right here, which is used to move object, camera or light source. All we need to do is left click. So on our mouse, if we left click on one of these arrows, we can drag our 3D object around the 3D space, like so. And to move around the 3D space, I need to use the middle button on the mouse. The middle button is right here. It's the wheel. If I press that in while my mouse is over the 3D space, the viewport, I can move in 3D.
For this, you have to press and hold the mouse button down.
Yes. Actually, since we have the webcam, I push it and I keep it pressed. I don't stop pressing it. And that allows me to move.
When you guys stop pressing it, and it will allow you to move your mouse again without changing the viewport. Now, Brent, how do we zoom in and out in the screen?
Right, to zoom in and out, you can use the mouse again, the same button, but this time we're not pressing it down. We're literally going to roll it. By roll it, I mean I just run my finger across and I roll it up and down as if I was scrolling on a web page. And inside of Blender, if I'm in the 3D view, if I roll the mouse, you'll see that I can zoom in and out.
Now, if you guys roll your mouse and your mouse isn't on the 3D view, then it's going to scroll somewhere else. It's going to try to move in and out of some other area. But if you have your mouse on the 3D view, then it will zoom. Now, Salvador, you had an issue zooming in and out. Are you able to do it now? or are you still having a problem?
Oh, I still have a problem.
So can you describe it? Why do you think it's not working for you?
Because I don't know, when I do that, it only moves like the camera moves, the position of the camera.
Okay, are you using a laptop, Salvador?
No,
No? You're using a 3-button mouse just like Brent?
no, Mac.
Right, so you're using a laptop or a trackpad, am I correct?
Yes.
Okay, so for a Mac, when you zoom or you move your when you scroll, it changes the camera like you're seeing. But if you were to move your fingers in and out, kind of like you were using a smartphone and you wanted to zoom in, Brent, could you show the motion? Yeah, you want to do that on your trackpad, and that's going to zoom in and out for you. So you want to move your fingers apart or move them closer together. If you move them closer together, that will zoom out. If you take your fingers and move them farther apart, that's going to zoom in.
That doesn't do anything.
Okay. The problem is I couldn't be sure you're doing it properly, but that should work if you're on a trackpad. Make sure your mouse is on the 3D view, and what you want to do is have your 2 fingers close together and spread them apart, or have them spread apart and move them closer together. And then Brent can show us the third way if that still doesn't work for you. Did you get that to work, Salvador?
No.
All right, yeah. Brent, let's take a look at the third way then.
This way is not as elegant because it requires that you keep going back into a menu to zoom in and out, which can be a little bit of a pain. Well, let's call it like third and a halfway, because though that doesn't make any sense, I'll explain why. If we go to view, this view menu, and we go to navigation, we can choose to zoom in and out right inside the menu. And this works pretty well, but you can see how long that might take. It's going to take a while to do anything productive. But inside this menu, there's actually shortcuts to the right. And you'll see next to zoom in and next to zoom out, it says number pad plus and number pad minus. Salvador, do you have a number pad on your keyboard?
On my keyboard? Yes.
Perfect. Okay. So the cool thing about a number pad with Blender is it gives you a lot of extra features. Well, not features, but means of communicating with the program. Okay, so with number pad, if you can't get the plus and the minus to work, plus and minus, I said them backwards of what I highlighted, but they're right here. If these don't work when you press them to zoom in and out, and remember, you have to have your mouse over the 3D space, and then you can use the plus and the minus key on the number pad. If they don't work, try pressing number lock and see if anything on your keyboard lights up. Number lock is a toggle. It turns the number pad on and off, not on and off, but it changes what the buttons do.
Just so you know, Macs don't actually have numlock. They only have a button called clear there. So you should be able to do it without having to worry about the number lock, Salvador.
Okay. But I don't have a plus and a minus.
All right. Brett, could I show my screen really quick just to make sure?
Sure.
All right. I just want to make sure that you know what we're talking about, Salvador. So this kind of emotion is what you want to do on the trackpad.
Yes, that's what I did.
Okay. And it didn't work?
No.
Would you mind sharing your screen for a second and showing us?
I have one last method too. We can emulate a number pad on the top row in Blender.
Cool.
If this doesn't work, I almost wonder if we need to come back to this later.
I think so. All right, Salvador, yeah, let's just jump into Blender. Cool. Let me just see while you're trying to do that motion what happens.
Doesn't do anything.
Make sure you don't have your mouse clicked. You don't need to click your mouse while you do it. Okay, so that's scrolling, right? You're scrolling up and down.
I assume it does that. It stays.
All right, yeah, we're going to probably have to take a look at this another time. If it's possible for you to get a mouse, Salvador, between now and the next week, that would be much advised because the trackpad and the gesture controls on the Mac might be a lot different from what we described the process is in Blender.
I have one last thing we could do that will take less than a minute that might help others too. Salvador, let's do this really quick. This is my last attempt at this. Go to the File menu up at the top left, and then choose User Preferences. Everybody, User Preferences is where you get to select options in Blender. If you don't have a number pad or you don't have a mouse, Blender actually lets you fake that. Go over to Input, and we can actually check off Emulate Number Pad. This will turn the numbers on your keyboard in the minus and plus sign. The ones at the top, like right above the Q, Y, E, R, T. So like 1 through 0, and then minus and plus, should now act like a number pad. And if you don't have a 3-button mouse and you have issues, we can come back and revisit this. But there's other options too in here. Don't click that, but we'll explain that next time if we need to.
So
Try
close
that
this
here.
window now, Salvador, and try to press plus and minus on your keyboard with the mouse on the 3D view.
Yeah. The plus and minus next to backspace is that's rotating it. Oh. Okay. So this may be something we have to come back and revisit.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Salvador, you might want to start a new file at this point because you switched a bunch of view preferences and stuff, but we'll come back and help you at some point. I definitely highly recommend everybody get a cheap 3-button mouse. You can get them for like $10. It's going to be really helpful in Blender because the controls that we have available to us are optimized for that.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry about that, Salvador. All right, Brent, so what should we try next?
I think creating, well, the last movement I want to do is let's rotate this. So down here,
Lula, nice to see you.
so like I said, by default, Blender automatically selects this button, but there's 2 other buttons next to it. So let's take a look at what those do. Remember, this menu is down below, right here. This first icon, the arrow, is what lets us move this. The next icon looks like a curved line. When I click that, do you guys notice what happens to the cube? It changes, right? What's on top of it? The blue, green, and red arrows now change to circles. And if I left click and drag on those circles, I can now rotate these objects. Give that a try and let us know if you have any issues. And you can switch back and forth between the arrow and the rotate. So make sure you give us feedback on how, if you are able to do that, we can move to the next movement.
Yeah, let us know if you could do it. Let us know if you have a question. How's it going, guys? Are you able to do it?
Yes.
Nice.
Excellent.
You can do it, Pablo and Rodrigo? Cool. Who else can do it? Or does anyone else, does someone have a question or need us to show you again? We're going to move on in a minute. Make sure to tell us if you could do this.
I say it's probably safe to move on. It's basically the same. The next step is more of the same. So far we have moved the object with left clicking and dragging on the arrows. We've switched to be able to rotate. The last icon, because if you notice, we have 3 options. This one actually just toggles. By toggle, I mean turns on or off that menu. And then we have 3 options. We have to just move it, grab, translate it. We have rotate, spin it. And the last one is scale it or change its size. So to show you how to change the size, I click on that and it changes again. You see how it goes from arrows to circles? It's almost like little cubes on the end of sticks. This actually changes the size. It works better before you rotate it. So if this was in an upright position, kind of aligned, this would scale a little more logically. But you can change the size of your object. Isn't that pretty cool? So give that a try. And one of my biggest mistakes I used to make in Blender, and I've made this mistake up until only a few years ago, is I would click this first icon, the one that toggles, and I didn't know I did it, and everything disappeared and my life got really hard, and I would have to restart Blender. So if you ever click that first icon, all that does is just hides those other 3 options. So if you lose them, don't worry, they're right there. So try to scale also. And let us know if you have any issues. After everyone is able to move, scale, rotate their object, let's add in multiple objects. Switch between them and let's build something using just some spheres for now. Does that sound like a good next step, Julian?
Yeah, totally. What's up? Do you guys have a question?
Remember, if you do have any questions, now is the best time to let us know, because we're going to move forwards in about a minute.
I have a question.
Yes.
That if in Blender you can, like, you do a square and you do the scale and the rotation, and you want another another square same like that one that you did, you can copy them.
Yes.
Ah.
There's an option called duplicate. I'll answer this very quickly, just while everyone is finishing practicing to see if they can do those other features. When you right-click on an object, like we were saying, it will get highlighted in orange. And if I want to copy and paste one of these, I can go to what they call the object menu. The object menu is this one here. I always like to draw more than one arrow for some reason. I don't know why. I feel like one suffices. So we click on the object menu, and then you can actually duplicate objects or use the Shift key and the D key at the same time. And you can duplicate this object, duplicate objects. So this is really cool if you had, I mean, you could build like a domino setup like in 5 minutes, which is really fun. Especially when you get into the physics of Blender. By physics, I mean Blender can actually make this work like a video game, where everything can bump into each other. That is something we'll cover in like much down the road if we have time. But yeah, so it's very easy to duplicate. Does that work for you? Give it a try and let me know.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so I think since no one has any questions relating to the controls of movement, scaling, or rotating, I want to move forwards with making more than one object now. Last chance to, hit pause. Okay. So with Blender, this is the default view again. If I want to create more than one object, and I look at my 3D view, if I look around here, I see nothing useful. If I look over here, I don't see anything useful here. Nothing here. But what I do see is this word create. My assumption, even if I wasn't, very skilled with Blender yet, is create sounds like where I would make new stuff. So if I click on create, you'll see a bunch of new options appear. Originally we had translate, rotate, scale, mirror, duplicate. And also to answer the question of how to duplicate an object, this duplicate button here, this would work. But as soon as I click on create, I get a brand new menu. And this menu has add primitive. What add primitive mean is add a basic shape. This is just like the draw tools in PowerPoint, except for it's very 3D. So we can add in spheres, we can add in monkeys, we can add in anything we want here. Just click it and it will show up. So if I want to build a rocket ship, I will show you how I can build a rocket ship. Really easy. So I add this in. I scale it. Then I can add in, I can actually duplicate this. This is maybe a good time to say this duplicate. So under tools, there's the duplicate option. So that's one way of doing that, if I want to layer things fast. Now, if I go to create again and I want to add in another sphere, I can do it. But the problem is I can't see it. So in Blender, as we create, we'll notice that sometimes we can't see stuff. And this is the menu we want to use. We can change this to wireframe mode. And if I click here, you'll see there's wireframe. Now I can see every object inside of other objects. And I can scale it. I can move it. And when I get it outside of the other object, I can go back to a solid view. And I can size this to where I'm happy. And I can put it right on top. And I can move my camera in 3D. Like, I don't like how this goes inside of itself. So I can reposition it as I see fit. And then I can create another UV sphere if I want. I don't have to create only UV spheres. I just want you to see how what you can build with only using like one object even, just to start. Go back to solid view.
What?
So guys, this is what you can do just using the tools that we've used today. You can scale and rotate and just try to make some kind of rocket ship or whatever you guys really want, but we encourage you to try to do a rocket ship because it can be any shape really, and you can allow your imagination to go crazy. So you can try to add a lot of different shapes, or you can try to make it all out of spheres, or whatever you want to try to do. And if you guys don't remember all of the controls that we've showed you today, don't worry, because we recorded this so we can send it to you and you can review it as many times as you want, and you can try it side by side while you're working in Blender so that you can make sure that you know where everything that Brent's doing is.
I think now might be a good time if anyone feels comfortable sharing their screen. It would be cool
Me.
to see. Perfect.
I want to start my airplane.
And can I share my screen?
Definitely. Definitely. We only have about 10 minutes left, so let's only share for a few minutes at a time.
Wow. Ah, what I needed to do to make it bigger?
Let's see. Let's I'm gonna annotate on top of the screen.
Okay.
Those options, it's right here. Did it show up on your screen where I drew?
I don't see it, Brent.
I see. Okay. Let me clear my annotation and let me try it again. Let me go full screen and see if that helps.
It'll help. We're looking down here, Rodrigo, and we want to click on this button right here, and this one will allow us to scale. So not the arrows, not the circle, but the one that has little squares on the end.
Right
So
next to
this
the
one
word
right here.
global,
Yeah.
to the left of the word global, what you're clicking on right now is the
Right here,
layers.
there
The
What?
drawings on your side aren't showing up either.
I already discovered.
Perfect. Perfect.
Okay, here's my airplane.
I may have a problem
Yeah, Pablo, what's up?
that I want to like to move the scale of a square, but I couldn't the arrows, the red and the arrows red and green don't appear.
Okay, you might be looking at it in a way where those arrows are blocked or where they're hidden. So you might
They're
want
like saying,
to. You might just want to rotate your view. That will help. If not, Brent, do you know what might be the option? Is it the toggle? Do you think?
I see. So you said like the green, the blue, and the red arrows have disappeared, right?
yes.
I think it would be the toggle, because typically those arrows would show through other objects. So,
I
Rodrigo.
need to go. I need to go because I'm going to go to take my sister to ballet,
Okay.
and if not, I'm going to stay alone. So I need to go. Sorry.
Oh no, it's okay. Remind us at the beginning of the next webcast, and we'll take care of that for you.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
See you later, Pablo.
See you later.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
All right, Rodrigo. I think this is coming out pretty cool for first time into 3D.
Thank you. Ah,
We're near the end, guys. Salvador, Constanza, and Sophia will send you an email with a couple of suggested times to help you install or to help you work with your mouse, Salvador. I think best solution would be to get it to see if you can borrow a mouse, a regular mouse, Salvador. But we'll send you an email to follow up, and we'll also send you a link to this video. Okay. Way to go, Rodrigo. This looks tremendous. First time in 3D Blender, and you're going great guns.
thank you.
Very nice. Cool. Wow, you learned this much faster than I did, that's for sure.
John does have a 3D rocket, I believe, in the Hall of Fame. Let's see if
I got a couple of them.
of
The space saucer and the rocket. Planet to Pluto or bust. Okay. Anyone else before we adjourn? Last chance for questions. Okay, you'll get an email from me tomorrow, a link to this video so you can practice what Julian and Brent presented, and we'll make a couple of times for you, Constanza and Sophia, to half an hour slots where we can help you install Blender.
Okay.
All right. Have a good week, guys.
See you guys later.
Thanks, Brent. Thanks, Julian.
You're
Hi,
welcome.
Lula.
Thank you.
Oh, and
You're welcome. You're
John,
welcome.
would you stop the recording?
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Okay, thanks.